Hello, friends. This is Mindy Eggen, and I am so excited to introduce to you my classic Road Legends collection with Spellbinders. This collection has one stencil, one Betterpress plate, one stamp and die cutting set, and then five individual die cutting sets. Classic cars is in my blood. I grew up surrounded by them with my parents and siblings owning a variety of these classics. That love and nostalgia for classic vehicles became the heart of the Classic Road Legends collection. Every element in this release is inspired by those cherished memories from fun weekend cruises to car show adventures. Classic cars are often tied to retirement themes in card making, but I wanted this collection to be more versatile than that. I have friends who share my appreciation for vintage vehicles, and they're nowhere near retirement. So, when designing the Classic Road Legends collection, I made sure the sentiments were well rounded, perfect for birthdays, celebrations, or just because. Now, because this is a little personal for me, I wanted to include pictures of my inspiration. In full disclosure, I also had some help in creating the set. My sister was the one who was like, hey, you know what would be a really good idea? And my older brother helped me in the design of the cars, making sure to get in all of those little details that make the cars a classic. So now I'm going to take a deeper dive into each product in the collection. I wanted to give you a little bit more of a walkthrough of the muscle car and just show you how all of these pieces die cut out and how they would layer together. So this one is a 15-piece cutting die set. You have the example on the front of the packaging, and then this is what your die collection would look like. So this does seem like a lot of pieces. Some of them do get pretty small, but I promise you they are well worth it to add the detail to these cars. So I have everything die cut out here in the colors that I would use. Now the packaging shows a yellow car, but of course, totally customizable. So you would start with your main die cut piece. This would be your car. And then we have the bumper, which would be right here. Then you have your grill. So I die cut those out of a silver metallic cardstock. Up here we have some racing stripes. So those are optional. There is detailed or embedded lines on some of these pieces that'll help you with assembly. So up here you can see where there would be some embedded lines for those racing stripes, or you can leave them off. There's also some embedded lines or embossed lines to help you with the alignment of the grill, the bumper, the tires, the headlights. So that's all laid in there for you. Now, up here, first we have these two small pieces. Again, I know they're small, but they are totally worth the added detail. These are right here. So they are on one die. This is for your rear view mirror, and then your side mirror. And I'll show you an example of those in just a moment in a finished card project. Then we have our back seat, which is going to be this right here. Then we have the inside of our car, which I die cut out of a dark gray cardstock. That is right here. You have a steering wheel. Now, these two circle pieces are going to tuck behind. So all you're going to see is that half circle. And then we have our tire assembly. So I started with the main big tire pieces, the most solid area of it, die cut out of a dark gray cardstock. So that would be this piece and this piece. Then you have some shadowing that you can add. And this has got a really skinny strip. It kind of looks a little funny when you die cut it out, but I promise once you layer it together, it's all going to make sense. So these shadow pieces are here. And then we also have one right here. Now these look a little funny. The reason that these are this shape is they actually are in the tire well. So inside, that way it gives a shadow layer from behind the tire, really adds to the dimension of our project. Then we have our hubcaps that you can add in a silver metallic. I also have my headlights, and then the headlights that'll go, the actual headlights itself is going to be out of white cardstock. We also have a tire up here just to make sure you're kind of giving that full dimensional look, which that I did out of a black cardstock. So if we look back to the car example, which I will show here, you could see where you have your grill, you have your bumper. Here is that shadow for the other side of the tire. our shadow areas here. This is in the wheel well, so back there to add that shadow. Now we do have some open spaces here in the bumper. If you were to follow the true line of this style of car, there would be some lights down here. And instead of creating another small die to fit into that, all you would need to do is just cut a small square of cardstock, the orange or red cardstock, and just place it behind your bumper before you attach it onto your car. Same thing with the door handle. You can just cut a piece of cardstock, place that behind there, and then also right here. And just to show you how this would line up, since this has got that really skinny piece right there, I'm going to place that down. Again, we have those embossed lines to help in guiding that. And there you can see where we would have our slight shadow. So I hope that helps in the assembly of your car project. You can always refer to the Spellbinders website for the examples and also your packaging because these are cars that I actually created the die cut for. So that is it's not digitally altered in any way. This is an actual die cut piece that I created for the packaging. This is the timeless truck, which this seems to work throughout the year in any season, whether it's Christmas, maybe you're thinking of even Memorial Day or 4th of July in parades, things like that. The timeless truck just can go for anything. It is such a great classic vehicle. So again, we have our example on the front of our packaging. This is a die cut piece that I created for the packaging itself. So this is not digitally created. This is something I assembled. And the packaging is blue, but this one I did out of yellow. That is the one that reminds me the most out of growing up is a yellow or a red truck. So I have my base piece die cut out of a light shade of yellow, and then my shadow areas or some of the details I did out of a darker shade. So this is the inside of our truck. You can see it in here. Then you have your seat, which would go right there, and I'll show you the dies in just a moment. Just kind of want to point out where some of these pieces are fitting onto the truck. Then we have these small pieces. Again, I apologize how small these can get, but they really just, the small details really make the vehicles. So this is a strip that you would add to the top of your truck back here. And then you have kind of this small triangle to give that look back there. And for whatever reason, it is totally spacing my mind what the back of the truck is called, but that adds that detail back there. Then you have another piece for your running board that can go down there. You have your tires. So we have three pieces to our tires. You have your main solid piece, the inside of your tire, and then your hubcap. So there's one, two, three there. Same thing with the back tire. And then your bumper, you'll have a couple pieces to layer together for that dimension. We have our grill. So you can see I lined it up where there's this kind of nub that sticks out. That's the direction it's gonna face. And then this would layer right over the top. Again, all the etched lines on the vehicle will help you in the assembly. You could see on here where your bumper and your grill is gonna line up. You could see on here where your tire, your running board, and then your headlights. Then we have our smaller pieces here. This little guy right there is your door handle. Then you have your mirrors and your rear view mirror. So that's where they would go and they can kind of tuck behind or off on the side. So like I said, I know those can get pretty small, but they really do make the detail. So that is the timeless truck that has 14 cutting dies. The classic car has been one of my favorite vintage cars, so I absolutely had to include this in the collection. There were certain looks that I wanted for this, and I'm really impressed with Spellbinders that they were able to take what I had for suggestions and put it together for this collection. So I wanted to go over some of these details for this car because they can be a little confusing. Again, there are embossed lines on the card to help you with assembly. I'm actually realizing I'm missing a die cut piece on here. This piece up here is going to go for the inside. So it'll go behind your roof of your car to show the inside. There is also another die cut piece. This one right here that has these two lines on there, that would be assembled over the top. So that way it would hide your red cardstock there. So I apologize, I forgot to die cut that out before filming, but there is another piece that goes over the top. Then we have a small skinny piece here. This is going to line up right here. So it creates that small window that would be right next to the driver. If you remember that on the cars, just popped open, gave you a little crack of air as you're driving down the road. So that is where that piece would go. Then we also have our rear view mirror and our door handle. We have our steering wheel. Again, we have these little oval shapes that would tuck behind our car. We have some more details. This one here is going to be on the back end of the car. Then I have a silver piece that is for my tail light. Then we have our grill and our bumper. So the grill would go down in the embedded areas that it's showing. Then you have your bumper that you can layer over the top, and our tires, which I die cut out of a black and dark gray cardstock, and then our hubcaps that can go on the front of the tires. So you do have tires for the three that would be showing. We also have our headlights. So we have that nice chrome backing back there for all four of them. And then white I did for the actual headlight itself. Now, if we take a look at the packaging, there of course is your base for your car. This is that triangle detail for the tail end of the car, your steering wheel. This has the additional smaller pieces like the rear view mirror, that one skinny piece that goes for the side window on the car. You have your grill. We have our tires. So you would need to die cut these. Each of these would have to be die cut from one from black and one from a dark gray to be able to get that shadow layering look. There is also, I apologize, another piece here that I forgot to die cut out. And this piece fits, so it's hiding the undercarriage of your vehicle. These are tire pieces. These two, again, are for your roof of your car. These skinny ones are going to be for your hubcaps, your bumper, of course. You have your silver piece for your tail lights, and then these are the actual lights themselves or the headlights. The speedometer set is a really fun set that I think is going to work great for birthdays. It can be just a fun focal point on the front of your card, but I was thinking birthdays when this set came into play. So this is an 8-piece die cutting set. I'm going to lay out the pieces for you to show how they would layer together. So this is what your die set looks like. You actually have 2 circle dies, and then you have the plate with the numbers. We have another small circle die and then a smaller one here. So what it would look like is this is your main circle die. So this is the largest one. Then you would die cut the next circle die out of whatever you want to be behind your numbers, whether you want to have be a metallic cardstock or an ink blended cardstock. That's what this piece is for. You would die cut another one out of black cardstock and then place the number plate over the top. So it's going to die cut out your pieces. So here I have mine. That is your large circle die. This is the next circle die I was referring to, that you could do your metallic cardstock or an ink blended cardstock. And then you can see this one is got the numbers on it. So you would, again, like I said, die cut from whatever color cardstock you want to be on the front. Mine happens to be black. You would place this over the top and run that through the die cut machine. So that will give you your numbers. And then mine happen to be the silver metallic. And then these circles layer together nicely. Now we also have our medium circle here and then our smaller circle. We have our decorative piece, couple decorative pieces, and then your speedometer and how you would layer this together. Just like on the front of the packaging, just place this on the top. You have your speedometer. You could put, maybe somebody is turning 30, maybe somebody is turning 50. You can kind of move that. I also think it'd be really fun to put a brad in here and make it kind of an interactive card. And then this piece would just be placed over the top. Now you can leave it as is, but of course we don't have numbers down here, so you can hide that with your emblem. And then you could add any sentiment over the top that you would like. This is the classic sentiments. So this is a 22-piece cutting set. So here we have the words and also a shadow for all of the words. And you can mix and match. I really wanted to make sure that this collection was versatile, that it wasn't just for retirement. I wanted it to be for all ages because I think everybody can appreciate it, appreciate the cars, and it just will go further if we can have sentiments that are outside of just classic cars and retirement. So I do have some typical ones like you can have a classic day. So we do have Father's Day as two separate words so you can use the word day in other places. You can do happy birthday, you could do happy Father's Day, happy anniversary, best wishes and congrats. And you can mix and match those. So those do have the actual die, and then the shadow layer. And all of the words are connected. That was very important for me when creating this collection, and the tittles on the eyes. I tend to lose those. So I'm excited that Spellbinders was able to create these words so they're all one piece and the tittles are connected. So no losing those small dots. One of the things I found when looking at inspiration was a starburst. So this is the Radiant Starburst press plate. Now keep in mind that press plates can be used with the Betterpress system. You can use your Glimmer Hot Foil system. So if you wanted to have a nice shiny gold starburst in the background, or you can even use this to emboss. So if you don't have a Betterpress or the Glimmer system, you can still use this to emboss. This is a 6-piece layering stencil, and the stencils measure 4 3/4 by 6 inches. Now, if you look at the packaging, the examples that I gave, there are many different ways you can use this as far as varying your color. We have some clouds in the background, you have your stripes. I love how it kind of has the thicker stripes on the top, the thinner stripes towards the bottom, and then some trees. So, definitely a classic road collection. This is the Cruisin by Sentiments, and this is where being versatile really comes into play. I had some fun with puns because I absolutely love puns. So, although you might not be able to use these on a flower card, I am just in love with puns, and I think they make the cards so much fun. So, this is a stamp and die set. We have 14 clear stamps and 3 cutting dies. The sentiments included here are cruising by to say, have a wheelie great day. I am audibly delighted to call you my friend, wishing you endless smiles of joy. Thought you could thought you could use a little pickup. Enjoy your new adventure. Another year in the fast lane. And then happy Father's Day, happy birthday, best wishes, congrats, happy anniversary, have a classic day, and I like your style. So here's a look at the stamp set and the coordinating die. The Cruisin' By to Say does have its own coordinating die, so it goes around the letters nicely. And then it was really important to me to have sentiment or to have these straight lined dies for the rest of the sentiments. I am not very good at cutting in a straight line. So to me, it's really important to be able to have dies to trim those out so they're just perfectly trimmed out, nice beveled edge to add to your card projects. And you can see on the front of the packaging how we have the Cruisin' By here down at the bottom of the speedometer. So that was die cut out with its coordinating die. And then I also trimmed out I like your style, and I used that rectangle sentiment to do that. I have been hearing lots of wonderful feedback from people that have had a sneak peek of the collection, and I'm so happy you all enjoy the classic Road Legends collection, and I can't wait to see what you make with it.